You've most likely seen the ads or heard the growing chorus of organizations in recent years asking if you have old medications that you don't just throw them away anymore. Public Health recently reported drug overdoses have surpassed motor vehicle accidents as a leading cause of injury death in Dane County alone. We have Cheryl Whitkey. She is the director of Safe Communities with us today. And Cheryl, we're going to talk about a couple of different things here, but as well, we want to let people know there's a med drop coming up, which means you can safely dispose of your medications. We'll provide details for that at the end here, but talk about these statistics. And actually, this is, being called now an American epidemic.
Right. Well, as you mentioned, it's the #1 cause of death. Poisoning is the #1 cause of injury death in Dane County. It's all drugs, it's all poisoning, but drugs are really what's driving this. And it's a variety of drugs, but we're particularly concerned about opiates, prescription opiates, which can be a gateway to heroin. And we're seeing, throughout the country, this trend where we're just losing a lot of people and having a lot of hospitalizations as people are addicted to these drugs.
How often are we hearing, there's an ad that I just saw for the first time probably last week, but it is of a mother who has a prescription painkiller, and the son is going in and taking it from her purse. How often are you actually seeing that happening? Are you hearing from parents or grandparents?
Yes, and we're hearing from law enforcement that that's often the way that people are gaining drugs and becoming addicted, is just taking medications out of medicine chests. So we want to get all of it out.
Okay, so essentially, if you have old medications, any medications, not only do we want to keep them out of the wrong hands, but also out of the water supply.
Exactly, right. Yeah, MedDrop started, and it still is primarily, it started as an environmental sort of issue, keeping drugs out of the water supply. With Safe Communities taking over the initiative, we did so because we're concerned about the safety of the community as well. And so this is a great opportunity for people to get these medications out of the community and safely dispose of them. Okay, we're going to just make some specific points here. MedDrop will accept prescription medicine, so any pills, liquids, or creams, over-the-counter medicines, medications for pets, nebulizer solutions, or inhalers. Any specific point you want to make in regard to that, or is that pretty much it? Yeah, well, I want to mention that there's a couple opportunities too. There's the big MedDrop event, which is coming up. We also have permanent MedDrop sites, and if folks go to our website, they can have instructions for what to do in both cases. We're going to link to that. We have what MedDrop will not accept. Here we go. Needles and sharps, thermometers, IV bags, oxygen tanks, and nebulizer machines. So you'll take the actual nebulizer medication, but not the machine. And then these are the upcoming events. So Saturday, October 22nd, a week from Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Fitchburg City Hall, the Public Service Commission building here in Madison, and the Sun Prairie Wastewater Treatment Plant. But again, you mentioned these permanent locations. Most important point you want to leave folks with? Well, just get the medications out, whether you come to the drop-off event coming up or take them to one of the drop-box sites. It's really best to just get those medications out if they're not being used, and check through all of your your cupboards. Sometimes we forget where we put these things. Exactly. Important reminder. Cheryl, thank you so much for coming in. We'll be back in just a minute with Final Check and your forecast.